We've already covered some of those benchmark percents. Remember those things you got to keep up in your head. You just know them. So 1/2, 50%. 1/2, 50%. 1/10, 10%. 1/5, 20%. 1/4, 25%. And 1/3, 33.3 repeating percent. So we've got those. We know them. Now, how can we use what we know to actually know a whole lot more? And it's super easy. That's what this video is going to focus on. It's how do we use our knowledge of these benchmark conversions to know a whole lot more by extension. It's super easy and it's going to get you really good at converting fractions into percents. So let's take a look at 2/10. 2/10. Well, if we split up something into 10 pieces and we have just 2 of those pieces left, right? 2 of those pieces left, we have 2/10, right? Because we have 10 pieces and we just have 2 left. So that's what 2/10 is. It's 2 of these tenths. It's 2 of them. So we know that 1/10 is equal to 10%. If 1/10 is equal to 10% and I have 2/10, how many percent do I have? Well, it seems pretty reasonable that I'd have 1/10 and another 1/10, right? 1/10 plus 1/10, 1 of the tenths plus another 1 of the tenths gives you 2/10. 1/10 plus 1/10. But I can just say, well, look, 1/10, that's equal to 10%. 1/10 is equal to 10%. And another tenth, well, that's equal to 10% as well. So I've got to say, well, look, I'm really doing 10% plus 10%. Well, that's going to be equal to 20%. Percents work just like whole numbers when you're adding them, except you've got to have that percentage sign at the end. So 2/10 is just going to be 2 of these 10%. 2 of the 10% is just 20%. Let's try it again, but this time let's try it with fifths. So when we're doing 1/5, we know we're talking about 20%. So what if I had 3/5? So instead of having just 1 of my fifths, which is equal to 20%, I actually have 3 of my fifths. Well, that's got to be equal to 1/5 plus 1/5 plus, yeah, you guessed it, I got 1 more fifth. 1, 2, and now I need my 3rd fifth. Well, that's going to get me 20% plus 20% plus 20%. And again, you guys know that percents work just like whole numbers, except you got to have the percent then. So 20% plus 20% plus 20% is 60%. Meaning that 3/5 is equal to 60%. Why? Well, 1/5 would be 20%, and we have 3 of them. So we've got 20%, we've got then 40%, and now I've got 60%. I've got 3/5, I've got 60%. Let's try it again, a little different. Let's try it with 1/4. Well, I have 1/4, I know that's equal to 25%. I've got 1/4, I know that's equal to 25%. What if I have 3/4? What if I have 3/4? Let's check it out. 3/4, well, that's going to be equal to just like 1/4 plus 1/4 plus another 1/4, right? 3/4, I've got 3 1/4 pieces. I've got 3 1/4 pieces. Well, that's going to be equal to, 1/4 is 25%, so I've got 25% plus 25% plus another 25%. And we know that adding percent works just like whole numbers, right? 25% plus 25% plus 25%, that's going to be equal to 75%. 75%. Awesome. Let's try it with 1/3. Let's try it with 1/3. Well, I could have 1/3, that would give me 33.3% repeating. But what if I had 2 thirds. What if I just had 2 thirds? Well, I know that 1/3 is going to be equal to 33.3 repeating percent. So this is really going to be like, you guessed it, 1/3 plus my other third. I've got 2 of the thirds, so I need to get that other one. 1/3. That's going to be equal to 33.3% repeating plus 33.3% repeating. And I'm going to get 66.6% repeating. I just added these guys up. I said 33 plus 33, that's 66, and 0.3 repeating plus 0.3 repeating, that's going to be 0.6 repeating. Let's try one more with 1/2. There's only really one place I can go with 1/2. So let's say I had actually, instead of 1/2, which we know is 50%, I actually had 2 halves. I actually had 2 halves, and you guys know that 2 over 2, 2 halves, well, if I have, let's say I have 2 fingers, right? 1/2 of my fingers is here, right? 2 halves of my fingers are here, so I actually have the whole of my fingers. I have 2 halves. It's going to be equal to 1 whole, so let's check it out. It is going to make a whole lot of sense. We always say percents are out of 100, right? Well, 2 halves, I've got my 1/2 right here, and I've got my other half right here, so 1/2 plus 1/2, that's going to be 50%. 50%, because remember, one of these halves is equal to 50%, plus 50%. Adding percents works just like adding whole numbers, except you gotta add the percent at the end. That's going to equal 100%, or 1 whole. Just the same way that 2 halves, if I have halves, I cut something in half and I got both of those halves, I've got 1 whole. 100% is 1 whole. So it all works out. It's all saying I've got 1 whole. 2 halves, 100%. What you guys are going to do now is you're going to move on to your quiz, and you're going to work with some of these benchmark fraction conversions, but you're just going to, instead of having just 1/10 or 1/5 or 1/4, you might have 2/4, you might have 3/4, you might have 3/5, you might have 2/5, you might have 4/5, right? You need to be able to say, well, if I have 4/5, I'm just adding up 1/5, that's 20%, 1/5, that's 20%, 1/5, that's 20%, 1/5, that's 20%, 20%, 40%, 60%, and 80%. Good luck.